Welcome back to ODTV. We have a wonderful guest with us here today.
That's right. We have Travi Eades here in the studio with us, a local song artist here. And Travis, you have written a theme song pretty much for Out of the Dark. So why don't you tell us what inspired you to get involved in this and write this song?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I didn't know I was writing a theme song at the time. I remember I was co-writing with Gloria Ross at the time. She brought me some lyrics. And I looked over it and I said, Gloria, you know this will never see the light of day on commercial radio. And she said, I know that, but why don't you just work with it, just see what you can do. And so I worked on it a little bit and I was playing the song for somebody. There's a line in the third verse about a child who's alone at home and a stray bullet comes through and takes the life of the child. I was playing it for someone and they said, now, does stuff like that really happen? And it was at that point I thought, well, this is a song worth pursuing. This is a song that has to be finished. I didn't know at the time why it needed to be written, but I knew it had to be finished. And it was 3 weeks later that I heard about what Skip was doing in the community. So I took the song to him and I played it for him. And it was at that point that both of us knew why that song was written.
Well, now I have heard, even Carol and I just sitting here talking about how powerful this song is, just gives you chill bumps. What were your thoughts when you finally realized that Out of the Dark was going to be the recipient of this song?
Well, it's a great honor for a songwriter. When you write something, you want it to have a life of its own. You want it to be able to find its context. And if it's commercial radio, great, or whatever it is, but when a song makes its way into the community and has a real purpose, that's awesome for a songwriter to have that happen.
Well, of course, we don't want our viewers to have to wait any longer, and I know that they want to hear the song just as much as we do. So, Travis, why don't you play that song for us? And tell us about the title of this song.
Well, the title of it is Stealing Our Children Away. A young man on the corner of the street as a car drove slowly by. Shots rang out, he fell to his knees. A misspoken word took his life, and his mother cried. He was my oldest one. This just can't be. 16 and his life is done. A teenage girl thought she was grown, spent the day getting high, dropped out of school and lived on her own. Too many drugs took her life, and her mother cried. She was my youngest one. This just can't be. You're 15 and her life is done. There's a monster roaming the streets of our town, stealing our children away. Sometimes it's dressed in cocaine white, other times it's gunmetal gray. And the only power that can fight him now, we abandoned and pushed him away. And now he's roaming the streets of our town, stealing our children away. She had no choice but to go to work and leave them alone. A stray bullet came through the wall, and now a 6-year-old is gone. And she cried, he was my baby son. This just can't be. This little child and his life is done. There's a monster roaming the streets of our town, stealing our children away. Sometimes it's dressed in cocaine white, other times it's gunmetal gray. And the only power that can fight him now, we abandoned and pushed him away. And now he's roaming the streets of our town, stealing our children away. When are we gonna take a stand against the evil
Travis, that was wonderful. Absolutely
amazing,
wonderful. And
yes.
I love the part where it says, who's going to take a stand? And that really feels like that's the purpose of Out of the Dark, is taking a stand. Don't you feel like that?
Oh, absolutely. And if not us, then who?
Absolutely.
That's right.
And I really just love the fact that this goes together. This song, Out of the Dark, and it's a wonderful organization, and I'm sure you're proud to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Music's what I can do.
Right.
And I'm glad to be a part of it.
Well, Travis, thanks so much for being here. We're very glad to have you and getting to listen to that song. And Carol, of course, that's going to wrap up our show for this week, but join us next week as we continue to examine the different sectors of Out of the Dark, and we want to continue to look at what's being done within the community, and not just locally, but how it can be used in other areas, other communities, so you can do it in your hometown as well. Right now, we want you to be involved. If you want to get involved with Out of the Dark, all you have to do is go to our website, and that's outofthedark.org. We want to make sure that you are there and getting involved. You can also call the toll-free number at any time. We do want you to get involved. Travis, why don't you play us out at the end of the show and let us hear just a little bit more of this song?
Sounds good.
See you next week.
When are we gonna take a stand?